Alright, guys, we are back with the grand finals from the FRB Grand Tournament. This is Paul,
This is Senex.
and yeah, this is going to be an awesome game, I've got to say, between Complexity GanZi and GoSuViBe. And who are you rooting for this game, Senex?
I have to admit that I'm going to go with my Zerg brethren, particularly since he's a bit of the
Whoa.
underdog. I do have to say that I love GanZi. I love watching his stream, and his just path of carnage through this tournament has been unbelievable to watch. There's one thing that I've learned from watching GanZi go through the FRB Grand Tournament. It is that he will go for the throat when he sees his opponent show any sign of weakness. Like, seriously, if you guys go and watch the VODs, which in a little bit of shameless self-plug, you can find at youtube.com/WiseOldSenex for all of the previous games throughout this amazing tournament. He really has shown that basically his opponent makes a mistake and then he kind of just goes and kills him. And so I do hope that Vibe is going to have his absolute A game on to be able to hold off those kinds of attacks.
Yeah, well, I'm just going to go ahead and shout out right now that I am so a GanZi fan right now. Of course, I am a Terran player, so you're definitely going down, Cynics. There's no way that Vibe's going to win this game. GanZi all the way.
Alright, so we're just going to have to see who ends up being correct in their prediction. GanZi right now going for some very standard play. Just going to need to see when does he decide to take his gas geyser. One of the important things to note in FRB is that it's not just when you take it, it's how many guys you put in it. Because it's Rich Vespian Geyser, you get 6 per every trip, which means that you can find yourself absolutely drowning in gas if you just immediately take it and throw 3 guys in like you would in a kind of standard StarCraft 2 build. And so I would definitely expect him to be taking it moderately soon unless he's going for a gasless expand, but only to put like 1 or 2 guys in so he has like some gas, enough for like a tech lab, stim, eventual tech, rather than going for like the immediate cloak banshee play that would obviously want all 3.
Yeah, I mean, if you go for gas, you definitely have a little bit of an opportunity to get some higher tech units, but at the same time, it's a huge investment. Now, we do see Vibe coming up here with his drone. It's going to scout that there is, in fact, no gas, and that GanZi is likely going for a fast expansion. And we can see here that his SCV is moving over to the spot to drop down that CC. Now, Vibe did go ahead and get his hatchery before he got his spawning pool, so he's going to have a little bit of an economic lead. Of course, Mule should likely make up for it. And as far as what GanZi's going, he's still not gotten his gas yet, and he needs to be careful. He might actually oversaturate his main before he knows it.
Yeah, just taking a quick look at the workers, he's at 16, and for those who kind of following in the theory crafting and the math at home, when you have 18 workers at a few resources per base, you just are at absolute max value. Every additional SCV or other worker that you add on doesn't really give you anything, so you want to transfer them down to another base preferably, or even do some long distance mining. We've seen some players eventually decide when they have just like 20, 25 workers, you know what, the only way I'll get any additional benefit is to long distance mine, may as well just go for it.
Yeah, now we do see GanZi did pretend to do a little bit of pressure there with his Marine. Tried to get the Overlord down, but that's not going to happen when you got some boss drones to handle the Marine. And instead of going for a bunker rush, goes ahead and gets a bunker at his main base. Now, he finally does have that refinery finished and is not really added on to any buildings. He could be adding on a couple of Raxes right now if he wants to. He has the minerals to do that. He could be going for actually a 3rd base, which I would not be against. Or, of course, he could just be going for some tank play, and now we do see that factory drop down. I wonder if he'll go straight into tanks or if he'll do a reactive Hellion or something like that. What do you think?
Whatever he picks, he needs to pick it fast. There are 7 roaches on the production tab right now. GoSuViBe supply surging as he's able to invest all of that bank in attacking units. Obviously, Roach is very effective against Marines. And even when the Marines are in the bunker, so long as there's not too many of them, that 1 armor just reducing the damage by so much. And right now, that Strike Force is moving out across the map. Looking at the unit tab, it's only 4 Marines. It's the entirety of GanZi's defense.
Yeah, and I gotta say, 7 roach rushes, or however many roaches there are, is actually a really effective strategy against a fast expanding Terran, just because what you said, 1 bunker with only 4 Marines really isn't the strongest when you're dealing with those armored units. And as we can see here, GanZi is getting the reactive Hellions that I was talking about, and they are really not going to be that much help against these roaches. He's going to need to pull some SCVs to repair this bunker, but Vibe actually completely bypassing it, interestingly enough, and trying to get some worker kills. And that's actually pretty smart. Now these Marines are outside of the bunker, and Vibe can take them down if he wants to. Marco's over here trying to get to the Marines, is actually taking down workers when he wants to be taking out Marines, but continuing to damage GanZi's economy. Let's look at the worker skill tab, 8 currently, for Vibe, and this harassment has been really effective so far.
Yeah, GanZi really taking a lot of damage here. He has no mining going on. It is natural. Those Marines can't leave that bunker. It's just so dangerous for them to try to engage Roaches head-on without the protection of that structure. These Hellions are outranging the Roaches by a little bit and can kind of pick away at them, but that reactor is definitely looking like it's going to fall. Even with the repair, yeah, there it goes, fall, and these Roaches are moving into the main.
Now luckily GanZi does have a Marauder here, so we'll help to defend against these Roaches, and if he can get that Marauder over to the bunker, he should be just fine. He will deflect this attack for now. Let's look at the units lost. It's really not that much of a difference, but as far as economy goes, Vibe is very, very far ahead right now with a 6 worker lead.
His workers kill is at 12, so really equalizing out his opponents. He took a small worker lead just because that 7 Roach Rush, obviously preventing Vibe from doing all of the droning he wants to. However, now he needs to deal with a more immediate threat. A whole bunch of Hellions and Marines moving out through the middle of the map.
Yeah, luckily there are a couple Spine Callers finishing up here for Vibe. They should finish in time to deal with this harassment. GanZi gonna go ahead and check to see if there's a third base. Sees that there is nothing right now, and will likely try to go up the ramp. Actually, I guess, let's see if he saw the Spine Crawlers. He did see that there are Spine Crawlers, so he's gonna wait for some Marauders to bust through those. And at the same time, something to note, he's going for a Banshee play with Cloak.
Yeah. Yes, Cloak indeed, halfway done, the first Banshee moving out across the field. There's a second one being produced as well, though there is a Spire currently going up for Vibe. It's a little bit of back and forth poking right around the front of the base, and really just waiting to see, is that Banshee? Yeah, it's looking like the Banshee is going to go around into the back, and there could potentially be a push at the front at the same time.
Indeed, GanZi's coming around here with that, needs to target down the Queen as best as he can. He does retreat with the main forces that were at the front though, and basically right now just he forced, oh no, he lost that Banshee. That's actually huge. I wonder what GanZi was thinking right there.
Yeah, a little bit of uncharacteristic miscontrol. We really almost never see GanZi lose units unless he absolutely has to, and he could easily have pulled that Banshee away. Also, kind of the age of the Banshee is coming to an end as the Spire is almost done. And when even 1 or 2 Mutalisks get onto the field, Banshees are really just not effective anymore. The Hive Tech is, the Lair Tech is already done, so there's going to be Overseers on the field to help deal with this Cloak, and I don't think that these Banshees are really going to be worth their investment at all.
No, they're definitely not making up for the investment that they are. Banshees are so hard to get. It's not even that they're hard to get, it's just that they're so expensive, and then if you don't use them effectively, your army is just so much smaller. Now we see Vibe here bringing the Overseer over here, so he's going to be able to deflect that. He is also getting his 3rd base and 4th base, so a double expansion at the same time, really making up for the fact that he needs to get as many expansions as he can because it's FRB, and GanZi just now getting his 3rd base up and running, probably, in all honesty, should have a 4th by now because it's FRB.
Though I don't know, just because of the way that this game has gone thus far, I definitely like GanZi's position.
Yeah, but...
What were you saying?
Oh, I was just saying, I was agreeing with you, but we do see Vibe coming up here to clean up these Hellions quite easily. But yeah, continue what you were saying, sorry.
Yeah, I really do like GanZi's position. Just taking a quick look at the Workers tab, he's at 49 SCVs to just 43 drones and has 2 mules working for him right now. So obviously going to be really good in the economy department. And because that 3rd base went up faster than his opponents, even though Vibe is double expanding right now, it's going to take a little bit before that double expand begins paying for itself, whereas this 3rd base is paying off right now.
Yeah, that is quite true. I do have to agree with that. I just feel like if perhaps GanZi were playing a more macro-based play and had lost less workers, that possibly he could have a 4th by now, which of course would be really strong, but of course that's not how the game is playing out. We do see attack upgrades coming for GanZi. It's going to be his 1 attack and 1 armor upgrade, whereas the attacks for our Zerg player are somewhere around here. We don't have anything quite yet, but he is getting the flyer attacks as well as the melee attacks, as well as that Baneling speed. Is that what Centrifugal Hooks is?
Yes, centrifugal hooks,
cool.
The Baneling speed. I'm just so happy that Vibe is getting that. I cannot count the number of times I have seen a Zerg player lose to a Terran push just because they were a little bit slow on getting that absolutely critical upgrade. You have to have it in order to deal with Stim Marines. Literally, it's a non-optional upgrade. You just lose unless you have it.
Yeah, I mean, good enough micro with bio units is basically good enough to deal with Banelings. They're super, super ineffective when they're slow. But we do see Vibe coming up here with a group of Zerglings. He's going to go ahead and try to take out these Marines, whereas 4 Roaches are currently trailing behind. I'm going to go ahead and focus down that bunker. But it looks like GanZi will be able to repair and keep it alive for a little while. Of course, the units inside of the bunker are stimmed, and I'm really surprised that Vibe's not pulled back. There's literally no reason for him to waste his units on that bunker like that. And ooh, a little bit of a missed trade, I've got to say.
Yeah, and losing those units could really come back to bite him in the butt, as there are 2 medevacs full of units for GanZi being moved to harass this 3rd base. Right now, there's a whole bunch of Zerglings spawning, but they are way out of position. And if all of these units are stimmed and start targeting down that base, I think it's guaranteed to go down. And there's so many drones dying in the meantime.
Yeah, there's no Banelings over here to deal with these Marines, only Zerglings, and GanZi does have 1-1 right now. Of course, Vibe's only at 1 attack, not 1 army. He is forced to move his mutas back and actually manages to take out those medevacs, so that's a pretty good victory for Vibe right there. And let's look at the units lost. It's pretty even this game. It's a very, very close game, I've got to say.
Though I do think it might have been too little too late in cleaning up that drop, while obviously punishing his opponent for the attack is a very good thing. Looking at the workers' kill tab right now, it's 19, so that base being absolutely decimated as those Marines just slide away through, but losing 3 medevacs in the open field, a huge blunder. Obviously, those being just such important units in order to keep the Marines at full health, and stimmed Marines that are not being healed are far less effective than their counterparts with the healing.
Yeah, that will significantly decrease the efficiency of his Marines right now. He'll only be able to stim a couple of times before eventually losing them. And Banelings coming in here to clear up a lot of Marines. GanZi is no longer afraid to take these on with his Mulas, although I feel like he might want to go ahead and pull him back just to stay safe. But he does manage to clean up those Marines with relative ease. And GanZi once again moving out with some Marines, trying to go down to that 5th base of his Zerg opponent. And wow, losing this medevacs was so unfortunate.
Yeah, that attack literally would have been completely different had those 3 medevacs still been on the field. It would have been a decisive victory for GanZi, when in fact, because of this second move out, which I really think is a questionable decision, GanZi might find himself very far behind, as all of these Banelings are swooping in, dealing terrible damage as they impact across the broadside of all of those Marines. And this base is not only up, it's very well defended, and GanZi is now in a 2-base lead.
Yeah, now at the same time, GanZi is continuing to go for another drop. Of course, the mutas are coming over here to where this medevac is headed. Will he catch that medevac? He actually goes right by it. Oh, no, never mind. Turning around. I think he'll be able to get this medevac, and that's going to be so, so unfortunate once again for GanZi. Oh, man, took out a whole medevac worth of Marines, as well as the medevac itself. Great victory for Vibe there.
Yeah, and GanZi is trying to expand again to overcome a little bit of the economic deficit that Vibe has managed to put him in. However, I'm not quite so sure that this base is going to be easy to defend, particularly as these Mutalisks are really not going to be afraid of the Planetary Fortress. There needs to be a lot of turrets planted down there right now, or at least some Marines that moved in for defense. There are Thors now on the field, and they are warding away those Mutalisks, but it looks like there's a big attack coming into the middle.
Yeah, these Mutalisks really kind of need to be careful about the Thor volleys right there. It looks like he's going to be able to clean up most of the Marines here, and running his mutas into a turret really needs to be careful about that. And there are quite a few Marines left for GanZi. I think that he should be able to hold, but his forces are definitely dwindled down a little bit. I think Vibe probably just needs to go ahead, retreat a little bit, get remaxed, possibly get to 200, and then attack again, but at the same time does not want to let his opponent get too many Thors or even tanks, which actually looks like he's not making tanks anymore. Needs to be careful about those Thor numbers though.
Yeah, and right now I'm really just trying to figure out what Vibe is going to be doing in order to attempt to kind of close out this game. He just invested in 11 more Mutalisks, and while Mutalisks are definitely very good, he saw the Thor tech, and when there are enough Thors out on the field, like the gigantic kind of mass Mutalisk style is a lot less effective. You have to be incredibly careful of that splash damage. He's making a whole bunch of Zerglings, producing them almost 40 at a time, but he also has this Hive tech that he really hasn't put to almost any use, as best I can tell. Hasn't even gotten the adrenal glands upgrade when he's mass producing the Zerglings, so I'm not sure he really kind of has an end game plan, and that might be very, very detrimental to him as the game progresses into that later stage.
Wow, now we see Vibe coming up here into the 4th base of his opponent, manages to clear 4 turrets right now, and is going for the PF. At the same time, GanZi a little bit out of position, almost on the underground, but manages to get up there. losing a ton of Marines once again, as well as a Thor. Now there's only a Thor and a few Marines with some medevacs to deal with this. That is going to be the GG from GanZi. Alright, that was a pretty good game, man. That was very close. I actually honestly thought that GanZi had it.
Yeah, that was an absolutely fantastic game, and I was really kind of getting nervous for my choice for the person who was going to win that game, but he did manage to pull it out in the end and now bring it to game number 2 of this best of 5.
That's right, guys. So we're going to go ahead and take a quick break as we switch into the next game. So don't go anywhere. It'll literally take us only a few seconds, and we'll be right back.